With demand for power rising without an increase in the supply, consumers will likely pay more for electricity in the coming years. Bill Barlow reports for the Press of Atlantic City. There is no way around the fact that we need to bring a significant amount of new generation online as quickly as possible, Governor Phil Murphy said last week. Even as the number of items plugged in at any time in an average home has skyrocketed, consumer demand for electricity has remained remarkably steady for decades as the efficiency of light bulbs, refrigerators and other items has continued to improve, according to multiple experts in the power grid. But projections show a sharp increase in the demand for electricity in the coming decade, primarily driven by the power appetites of data centers. Last week, PJM Interconnection, the organization that operates the power grid for New Jersey and 12 other states, plus the District of Columbia, reported on the results of an auction of power generation capacity. The PJM report states that prices were largely unchanged, but the auction fell short of the amount of power expected to be needed to meet reliability standards. That does not mean the power supply will fall short next year, the organization said, but it does indicate that new demand is rising faster than generating capacity is being added. Most consumers give little thought to the regional power grid manager, so long as the lights come on at the flip of a switch. Most know Atlantic City Electric or another local power company, and some might pay attention to the meetings of New Jersey's Board of Public Utilities. New Jersey and 5 other states want the regional power grid operator to keep price caps in place to prevent even larger spikes in electricity. PJM has a far wider reach. It's the largest of the regional transmission organizations in the nation, making decisions that impact more than 65 million customers from Atlantic City to Chicago. States want more say. After the most recent report, Murphy criticized PJM and said big cost increases could be on the way. Our regional power grid operator PJM has failed us, Murphy said in a post on X. The grid is using all the capacity it currently has. Any future growth unmatched by new supply will cause prices to go through the roof. There is no way around the fact that we need to bring a significant amount of new generation online as quickly as possible. PJM needs to work in partnership with governors in our region to make that happen. Murphy will be out of office by then, replaced by government-elect Mikey Sherrill. This year, Murphy has joined other governors in seeking to increase consumer and state representation with PJM. He accused the grid manager of a lack of transparency, and has been advocating for governors to have more of a say in the grid operations. New Jersey pays some of the highest rates for electricity in the country, and that increased this year with a hefty rate hike in June, with consumers paying up to 20% more. Many local consumers blamed Murphy's efforts to build wind farms off the coast, an unpopular option in beach communities that now appears all but dead with the election of Republican President Donald Trump. Still, state officials say the end of offshore wind will have an impact on the state's power supply. If we had steel going in the ocean right now, prices would be lower than they otherwise are, said Eric Miller, executive director of New Jersey's Office of Climate Action and the Green Economy. Any additional generating capacity would lower electricity prices, he said. The Regional Plan Association says rising electricity costs come from 3 factors: energy supply, rising demand, and a global increase in energy costs. In a report released Monday, the organization projected a rapid increase in energy demand and said a changing climate will impact the grid with stronger storms and more potential for wildfires. RPA, too, cited the end of wind energy projects that were designed to power millions of homes. New Jersey imports power from other states on the grid. But throughout the power grid, demand continues to climb and there is little expectation of a major addition to generating capacity in the short term. RPA described the increase in power-hungry data centers as a once-in-a-generation shift in demand. "We haven't had an increase in demand like this since the invention of air conditioning," said Kyle Mason, the co-author of the RPA report. Meanwhile, the increase comes without a commensurate increase in power generation capacity. The most recent comparable change was the national move to household appliances that started in the 1960s. Now, the electrification of buildings and vehicles and the creation of data centers to handle the demands of cloud-based computing and artificial intelligence presents new challenges. But the question remains, what can be done to increase the amount of electricity being generated? State Senator Mike Testa, Cape May, Cumberland, Atlantic, sees potential in nuclear power, especially in small modular reactors. They have no carbon emissions, and there is a company in New Jersey working in the field, with a manufacturing facility on the Delaware River in Camden. Atlantic City Electric said it will work with Democratic government-elect Mikey Sherrill to reduce rising electricity costs around the state. But the regulatory framework for their operation is about 8 years away, he said. The state Senate sent a bill to Murphy to study next-generation reactors last week. New Jersey already gets a lot of its power from nuclear sources, even after the closure of Oyster Creek. Just under half of the state's power comes from natural gas plants, with nuclear power a close second at 45%. Solar comes a very distant third at less than 3%, and wind power generates a fraction of that amount, at 0.03%, according to data compiled by the U.S. Energy Information Administration. That organization shows New Jersey's total energy production is down by more than 10,000 megawatts compared to a decade ago. Solar power has seen the most increase. From an all but non-existent source at the turn of the century, solar power generation has grown steadily. Clean energy faced major policy setbacks in 2025, but solar and battery storage still dominated new power added to the grid. And while the Trump administration seeks to end offshore wind projects and other green energy proposals, the RPM report states that New Jersey has limited space for onshore projects and describes offshore wind energy as a means of meeting demand and lowering costs. Offshore projects would be the fastest way to add new power to the grid, the report states.